fundamentals, basically. Welcome to Overwatch, and welcome to a kind of an interesting coach of the menu. At least I hope it's an interesting coach of the menu. As you can see in the top left corner, you can see the title of the VOD, Solid 76 and Tracer. But what this is going to be more focused on is a mixture of real talk, I suppose, and a mixture of DPS fundamentals. So, like, what are your goals as DPS? How do you position yourself? How do you construct situations in your mind in terms of how you want to get things done? What are your target priorities? All that kind of stuff is going to come into this video. The reason why I say that this is quite a big video, like an honest video, is because the email was slightly strange, and I don't mean that in a rude way. Hopefully not. It was just this lad has ambition. So it begins by saying, you know, I don't think I belong in bronze, and I truly believe this is one of the games where I perform towards the best of my ability, and I want you to point out everything that I'm doing wrong, or you think I'm doing wrong. So, you know, he wants an idea of, oh, I think I'm playing really well here, like, this feels like I'm playing really well. What am I doing wrong regardless? Like, what are these mistakes that I'm looking at? But then he says that I hope next season to be in Grandmaster, which is, like, that's a huge leap. So not this season, I imagine, but the end of next season, maybe. I think, is the idea. So Season 6, he wants to end it in Grandmaster. That's a huge leap, and that's going to take some real dedication and effort. And we'll explain why as we go through, because it's... You'll see very quickly, perhaps, of like, okay, this is very bronze in terms of how we're approaching things. This is more... We're okay in some places, but this is really not okay, and we can really start breaking down, okay, you know, if you were in Grandmaster, you would never do this. So, yeah. It's a lot of ambition. Hats off to you for shooting for the stars. If I were you, I would focus as well, just in general advice when approaching gains, is sure we should be looking to go far, but we should also be looking in terms of where are the marginal gains? Where are the places we can make improvements quickly that can really just get us up, not from bronze to Grandmaster, but from bronze to silver, from silver to gold to platinum, and then just make these step-by-step tweaks and improvements. Avoid learning bad habits, and then just move forward and move forward and move forward and do that stuff. It's not impossible, I'll say that much. It is not impossible, but it's going to be very difficult. Okay, let's get started with the VOD. Bye, Twitch chat. Let's also try and get rid of that. How do I do that? There we go. Let's begin. Let us begin. And so we're starting off defending King's Row. I actually haven't seen this soldier skin in first-person view before, so I was quite surprised to see it. And also, I like the fact that we spotted this platinum, currently 1,000 rating below his season high. Taking a peek at him. Bit of an anomaly in the team, but hey, he's here still. Like, I haven't seen this skin in first-person view. I didn't know the gun looked that cool. That gun looks really cool. So, first and foremost, you've got to understand that we are playing primary DPS. Like, if you're playing Soldier 76, you are playing in the primary DPS role. Your objective is very much to be... also, by the way, yeah, the in-game audio is a bit strange with this one, and so there's also like a little bit of background music. Hopefully it's non-copyright. It sounds like movie soundtracks and similar. Basically, the idea is that we should be putting out a huge volume of damage, hopefully into the meteor targets especially. Like, we should be doing a lot of hurt to stuff that can be hurt and is vulnerable at any given time. Now, we do have a couple of people to help us with that, so Junkrat and Roadhog, for example, will be very good in dealing with the barriers that coming in, stuff like that. So we do have options available to us. So we want to be a bit more flexible than those guys, but we do want to be a little bit focused on drilling down these big targets. So first things first, notice that we are extremely static. This is one thing I noticed that people at low ranks do quite a lot, which is they just stand still and shoot. And the danger of this is that if, like, let's say they have a Widow up here, and you're doing this, and it looks like they have something up here. If that something up there was anything paying any kind of attention, you would be dead instantly. Dead instantly. And, like, you cannot just do this. This also is a very good example of, like, just a very small mistake that we can point out very quickly. You can see the Reaper Wraith forming in. Why are we aiming at his core? Why aren't we aiming at his head? We have 100% accuracy on the first couple of shots with Soldier 76, so we can absolutely aim. Like, our crosshairs should be resting right where his head appears. And we should be nailing those headshots and putting as much damage in as possible. We might not even kill him, but we will get more ult charge for ourselves, and we will leave him vulnerable. He'll have to run off. He can't continue to push out here if he takes a shitload of damage, so he's going to have to run off, go downstairs, pick up the health pack, then come back up, then come down, do all that kind of stuff. So we have, like, little optimizations that we could already be doing in terms of aiming confidence, in terms of getting the value, in terms of making that work. okay-ish with the rocket there. Just punish that Reinhardt for pushing on his own. Keep punishing them. Just keep pushing forward. But again, it feels like we are either moving our keyboard at the same... Like, we're moving with our keyboard or we're moving with our mouse. We aren't doing both of them at once. It's not smooth motions. It's not smooth FPS, crisp mechanics that we kind of want. It's very... sort of a case of, okay, I'm moving now I'm moving my mouse, now I'm moving my mouse. And if you watch a lot of high-level players play you, and then you watch a video like this, it is very clear to see just a difference in comfort between aiming and moving at the same time and getting that down. Definitely an area that we should be looking at working on. This is, like, I was genuinely surprised by this. When I saw this in the VOD, it's like, what? How did he get there? So clearly he's done a teleport that he shouldn't have been able to get away with. And I'm not sure if we would be able to hear him coming if we have our audio turned up. And this is also, like, just in terms of raw aiming mechanics, in terms of target priority, like, okay, we're in a good position here, we should be coming forward. So part of why high ground is so strong is that, you know, we can just poke forward and have clean line of sights to stuff. And we see a couple of good targets. Honestly, I would say ignore the Diva. Let's focus on getting rid of the Mercy, because if you hurt the Mercy, then she's, if you kill the Mercy, their push is completely done. If you kill the Diva, they can still kind of try and get something done. And the odds are at this rank as well, if you kill the Mercy, if you kill the Mercy, they'll still try and push, and they'll end up losing it because they don't have their key support. So it could have just been an option there. Well, with us pushing around here to intercept these targets, then yeah, you could just sort of hear one footstep before he arrives. He shouldn't have been able to get away with that teleport, so it's a little bit unfortunate, but still. There's not too much I think we could have done about that necessarily. Alright, let's skip forward because it's a long VOD, so we're going to be getting right back into the action. So first things first, instant information we get with the turret. We know that someone's up above there. We know, hey, it's a Reaper. This is actually quite... Oh, this is alright, especially because he's on such low hit points. Reaper at this distance is doing nothing. Like this, and this is actually a topic we'll be talking about later as well, which is effective engagement ranges. More when we talk about Tracer. Soldier 76 has kind of an effective engagement range of anywhere the fuck he wants to be. We know that at least there is a threat of a Reaper behind us, so we're always going to have to be cognizant of that. So I'm okay with the position we end up taking up. We don't have a Reinhardt to play around, so we want to be playing around cover. The Taxi is okay-ish cover. We can also duck back here, pick up the Sombra health pack, stuff like that. We have options. That said, I would say that anytime we are setting up in a location of Soldier 76, so if we are going to be here for the foreseeable future, we should probably be dropping our health kit, just to be on full health, and then we can just be a little bit more aggressive and make sure that we are topped off nicely. This should be a dirty value Dragon. Instead it's shot way too shallow, doesn't go through the entire hotel, doesn't get any kills, feels bad, man. And you notice we still haven't dropped our health. Like, we should be using this cooldown a little bit more aggressively. We can afford to do so because it is relatively short, 15 seconds, but it lasts for like 8 seconds or 6 seconds or something. It's a pretty safe ability to just throw out, so we can put that down wherever we want it, really. Right, charged in. This is a free kill for us, no problem. Also pull back a little bit, but honestly we can take our time with this. And again, I'd say that, you know, if you are looking at getting to Grandmaster, we should be tracking this and shooting every single shot into this guy when he makes this charge. Like, he has a predictable trajectory. He's going this way, and we should be landing all of these shots onto him, just to make sure that we punish when he does so. And as he comes in, like, we sort of start the motion, but we need to be doing this a little bit earlier, of just pushing around this way to make sure that we have a maximum angle to shoot this guy. So as he's coming in this way, we want to be moving this way, so we're nice and safe, and we can just keep shooting at him as he goes past our cover. 5 seconds and 40 heals per second. There you go. I know it heals a full 200, but that's all I know. Off the top of my head, at least. 'Cause it's sort of the super relevant info. Oh, it's just being aggressive here. Again, we're just holding this location. I'm okay-ish with us doing this. The problem is, like, we don't have a Reinhardt to play around, so we're sort of the front line here. It's a little bit bold to be here, but as long as we are more, like, as long as we aren't standing here full time, we can just poke out this way, then we can do all right, especially with the turret giving us cover. So I'm not too offended by this positioning. That said, at some point I would like us to reposition back onto the high ground, just because if the enemy team does sort of find their balls and push in as a single unit, we could get overwhelmed here. So this is a good temporary position, but not a good sort of full-time position. That's a interesting EMP that we didn't really capitalize on. I'm kind of glad we didn't capitalize too hard on it, because honestly, there's nothing we could do about it. Why was that EMP bad? Let's talk about that very quickly. The EMP isn't great because, like, what can we do into this, basically, is the question. No one's in real good position to follow up on it. We can get 1 or 2 kills maybe, but the enemy team just pushes back, survives, doesn't use any resources. We use EMP. And we delay a push, but you can get more out of EMP than that. Otherwise, we're going to wait. Want to be very careful about standing here, just because their sightlines are so much better than ours. You can see what happened to the Hanzo, where he gets ganked by a Mercy, but probably still gets a ton of damage onto that Reinhardt for free that he shouldn't have been able to get. Looks like the Mercy's going to have Resurrect for the next fight, so that's something we should be aware of. And we should really be keenly aware of the fact that they are going to res if we try and do anything. Okay, we sprint off this way. I'm fine with us doing this. This was one thing I spotted. Okay, we're picking up the health pack, and then I thought, yes, he's going to do it. No, what? Why are you going this way? This is not where we want to be. So again, if you think about available firing angles, things that can shoot at us, threats towards us, there's so many that, like, coming out here, we are vulnerable to the Reinhardt, we're vulnerable to the D.Va, we're vulnerable to, I think that's a solid 76, vulnerable to Lucio. They can all just come out towards us, and it's so easy for them to just deal with us. We can't really step out this way, because if we do, we're just going to get minced. We are not leveraging any advantages, and we're in such a good position just to go and take the high ground. Like, we literally seem to decide against doing it, instead opting to come out one of the narrowest chokes onto the point possible. We don't want to be doing that. We absolutely don't want to be doing that. Like, if you can, especially because this D.Va is facing this way. Like, if we come out up top, fire the Helix rocket into the backline, or just fire it onto the Mercy, for example, we have put ourselves in a good position. The D.Va then has to peel off to deal with us. That might buy our team a chance to come in and do something. We could possibly make something happen. We don't have to worry about sort of trying to go for a hard stall at the moment. Not quite yet, and now we finally get up there, but now it's a little bit too late as they've managed to get their sights off. We drop our sights, we go for the right target, the D.Va's slow to react, which is fine. Don't like the decision we're making now, which is to just try and shoot into the D.Va. Never ever works. The D.Va just has to stand there blocking you. Better decision might be to just jump down at this point and just try and contest the point, try and kill the Mercy off, and then try and get something off the back of it. We managed to get Sound Barrier, which is an okay trade, and then if we just die, then we respawn with the rest of our team. We can get back into position quickly because we're solid 76, rather than what happens now where we get isolated and we should be getting killed off. Which is very, very slowly happening. There we go. Have a slurp of coffee. In terms of team lineup, by the way, yeah, not great. But it is bronze, and honestly, in bronze, like, even a modicum of ability in terms of FPS skill should be able to push you relatively far. There'll still be games you're going to lose. Like, the enemy team lineup isn't terrible. It's actually relatively good, I'd say, especially because Reaper's going to actually be quite strong at this rating, I imagine. Normally, like, this will be a bit of a liability. They'll be better off with a Roadhog, but honestly, their team lineup is way better than ours. It's much more balanced, it's much more cohesive, it can engage at medium, short range, can't really do much at long range. Meanwhile, our team lineup is very reliant on us and Roadhog more than anything, probably just to deal a lot of damage, and maybe Hanzo to get some picks, but honestly, Silver Hanzo, I'm not holding my breath, to be brutally honest. We're also going to have to be very self-sufficient on healing. Luckily, we're playing Soldier 76, so we can be self-sufficient on healing. Okay, we want to set up for the next position. Torbjorn getting pushed back, naturally. This is what Torbjorns do. Feels bad, man. So if Torbjorn can't get it set up anymore, it's a struggle. We're going to be playing very carefully if we're going to try and do something like this. And again, why are we just standing still? Why are we standing still? It's... The number of times and occasions where you should be standing still on Overwatch are extremely small. There is no penalty to movement, there is no penalty to moving while firing. It is not a bad habit to get into to just be moving while shooting most of the time. Unless you are really specifically looking for a very specific shot, and you really, really have to sort of stop and aim, and that's, I'm literally saying, like, the Genji is escaping into the distance on 2 hit points, then you might be able to get away with standing still for a second, landing the perfect shot, and then killing that. Standing still, just firing into the enemy team, is just asking for someone to turn around and plug you in the head with 1 or 2 bullets. It's such an easy shot to make, where even the Lucio, if we are standing still, the Lucio is now a threat. Like, this is the situation we're in, where if the Lucio just aims even a tiny bit at us, and lands 3 headshots, we are screwed. Lucio gets a ton of ultimate charge. It's bad all round. If we're moving, the chance of Lucio doing significant damage to us is absolutely tiny. And you might be saying, well, it's a bronze Lucio or it's a silver Lucio. How threatening can he be? it doesn't really matter. Don't anticipate that your enemies are always going to be bad at aiming, and they won't necessarily always be that case where they are bad at aiming. If you have bad habits where you are standing still to shoot, kill it as fast as possible. Move and shoot, always be evading, always be ducking in and out of cover. For example, we have cover next to us where we can just pop out, land a couple of shots, land a rocket, maybe get some damage into the diva, and then pull away. Honestly, we're not really going to be doing much anyway here, just because most of our team trickled in and died, so we're just more interested in building up a little bit of ultimate charge, and maybe getting out, maybe going for a final contest, but because of how this is going, it's unlikely to happen. So I'm fine with us sort of pulling back a little bit here and just trying to build some ult charge. Just where we should be looking at, what we should be looking at doing. We could maybe go for a brave push in here and try and kill this Reinhardt, but we'd be trading for ourselves, and honestly, it's still probably not worth. This, by the way, it's cute, but doesn't really do anything. I actually want to see if we can get a real good look at this. Speed, 25. Reinhardt no longer taking damage, actually being healed, and I want to see if any like white sliver appears even on Reinhardt at that distance. Not really, I think that literally just hit the barrier. You might be able to sort of hit him if you hit here, but even then you are looking at a damage value of about 10, if that. So very rarely worth it. More worth it is just to shoot into the barrier or just to try and find something else to shoot it into. Very unlikely you're going to ever get anything done trying to curve the rocket around a Reinhardt barrier. One of the cool tricks you can do, this is actually more useful for maps like Eichenwald or any 2CP maps around a choke point, is you can use Reinhardt's barrier like a back wall. So Volskar Industries is another good example as well. So imagine if we're on Eichenwald and you have like the archway here, what you normally have is stuff like Symmetra turrets dotted around up here. And so if you fire your rocket here, for example, you're probably going to kill these two Symmetra turrets. So that's a tool you can use in terms of curving the rocket and make it work, but otherwise it's very unlikely to do anything. You might as well be putting that 120 damage, I think it's about 120 damage on a Helix rocket into the barrier, and then backing off and then maintaining shelling damage onto the barrier. We are very low on hit points, so don't blame us for running quite far back. We have no healer, so we're just forced to sort of wait it out. Not so sure about our positioning here. Just what I would say might be more beneficial. Because if you think about where the next fight is going to be, where our next hole is going to be, it's going to be in this position. So what I would be looking to do is get around this corner, hide around this corner for 5 seconds, put the heal field down, heal up, then look at maybe moving around here. Why? Because that makes it more likely for our team just to be able to stand here, stay here. Our staying power is a little bit better. That means we're defending a little bit better, and that means we're less likely to get completely rolled over. Ugh, a little bit of coffee. There we go. This should absolutely be punished. There we go. But again, like when you see a charging Reinhardt like this, priority number 1 is to just put as much damage into him as possible. Like we should be tracking this the moment we see this coming in, and we should be getting a couple of shots in, and probably putting the rocket here. Like, immediately. Just to get that damage in, especially once Rodog lands the hook. This also is a indication for us to land a rocket, so once you see this chain go taut, put a rocket here. And you guarantee the 120 damage. Yeah, 120 damage on direct hit, 80 on splash. I mean, the splash is on a decay, though. I'm pretty goddamn sure it's not like concussive mind. Concussive mind, concussive mind. But yeah. We should absolutely be rocketing where the Reinhardt's going to end up. Just, it's a simple anticipation, but it's a very easy anticipation to do. Once the hook goes taut, and you can hear it, it's got a very loud audio cue when a hook connects, for this very reason that you can get a good follow-up shot. I'm curious as to why we hesitated here. Their Reinhardt's down, we actually have an opportunity here to do something, especially with Molten Core active. There's got 3 on the payload, so we know that there's 3 people sort of standing around and near the payload. What we're doing now, again, is just standing still. You notice that we took so much damage here. And I think if this Hanzo man was a little bit more competent, we could have just died there. And if he slammed a rocket at us, we definitely would have died. We would not be able to dodge it. Again, we're standing still. We could be doing a number of things at the moment, way more active than what we're doing at the moment. So I'm okay with us shooting here, but we lack a main tank to play around, so if we can't do that, we can play around a little bit more flexibility. We could, for example, go left here, try and flank in a little bit behind, get the damage out onto the back line. Pressing the Mercy a bit, because the Reinhardt is, of course, a big problem. D.Va gets huge value on the bomb thanks to Earth Shatter. Feels bad, man. Also because we have the shield, like, we can play this a little bit more aggressively, where we can, instead of coming out here, we could be pulling around, getting behind their tanks, getting into their backline, and honestly, I doubt these players will be able to deal with it effectively. Especially on something like the Mercy on the Lucio, we could probably just slam a rocket into them, get the kills very quickly, and then just win the fight off the back of that. Coffee. There we go. Beautiful. So, we have Visor. We should be looking to get a good angle and using it. Not keen on blindly just using it. I mean, okay, no one could test the point. Why am I not keen on blindly using it? Because if... Like, let's go through some hypotheticals, okay? Let's say that we have someone contesting the point. As I'm aware, there's a little bit of starlight above me, but whatever. Seems to fade with proper lighting. Okay, so hypothetical number one, someone's contesting the point, we come out here, and D.Va is, well, where she's positioned now. What happens? What happens is very simple. The D.Va rockets off towards us, puts defense matrix up on top of us, we don't do any damage. Well, not hypothetical, I guess, reality situation. We use Visor, D.Va flies up to us, blocks all our damage, we're firing into a D.Va defense matrix, we don't do anything. What's the difference between doing that, leaving spawn, and just shooting at the D.Va? D.Va still puts up defense matrix, still blocks all the shots, but instead of using an ultimate, you're just using regular damage. So we could just do that instead, rather than use this very, very important ultimate during contesting phases, which is so good for cleaning up stuff like evading Tracers, evading Divas, evading anything, evading Lucios. So good, so invaluable for getting rid of those threats. Why risk using that into a hard counter like a D.Va, like a Reinhardt, like anything, when we could just bide our time a little bit, come out all guns blazing regardless, get a similar reaction, or exactly the same reaction in this case, and then go in for the ultimates. When we know that, for example, we could just run past the D.Va and then we could fire it and maybe shoot down the Mercy before she can reposition. We have other options, better options available to us than rather just using it blind as we come around the corner. Overall, I say that this was a game of team comp. Like, it's relatively simple. Not impossible to win this, but I think as well, if you're playing with a team comp like that, we have to be a little bit bolder, especially if we are running Symmetric Torp. If you can get the armor pack. Actually, was it this game where we were standing in front of an armor pack, or is that later? We just don't pick it up because it's driving me insane. Thank you, Mr. Mate.
I could become anything I wanted to, so I became a Hanzo main.
Your mum is a dirty liar. And a bad influence. Actually, no, she's not a liar in the sense that you can become... Okay, no, it's not this video. Later on, I think. It's just where it was driving me insane, and I'll point out when it drives me insane. But because we have... Like, this to me is like the biggest problem, where we have this opportunity. Like, the D.Va rockets forward. And imagine if instead of being where we are, we just go through the horseshoe. People call this horseshoe sometimes, by the way. And then it goes up and around. And so then we can gun stuff down with it. Yeah, we could do a lot with that. My sub status didn't come up, my sub message didn't come up. It seems to be doing that, and I'm not sure why. Let me... Whoop. Oh wow, that's a tier 3 sub as well. Why didn't that come up? I don't know why that hasn't shown up. That's really annoying. That is really annoying. Thank you, it's McCrab though. Yeah. This is a bit of a worrying message, but it is hugely appreciated. I really need to look into why that didn't work. That's really frustrating. No, it is hugely appreciated, and I do love you. But yeah, instead of being here, if we just run around, get past the tanks, and put a tank visor into the back line, we could do so much with that. Instead, we're just standing in the front line with no tanks in front of us. Of course, we're going to get ulted to death. Of course, we're going to get murdered. We're not taking, we're not taking any chances. We're not using any opportunities, and therefore, we're just going to get smashed. It might be it's McCrab because it's a tier 3 resub, and that might be what the cause is. Maybe. But now we're switching from the real American anyway to the real Brit, the realist Brit, Tracer. Of course, people start shouting at the Sombra, so you throw the translocator over the side a few times apparently. Whatever. People start arguing. I will point out that our lad here, it's Kawaii, or I'm Kawaii, says, you know, chill out, focus on the game. By the way, this is taken from the end of last season. And it's weird because when I saw this, I was like, huh, are they actually throwing? Maybe they're actually throwing, you know, maybe the Sombra and Hanzo are throwing, but they actually aren't, so don't worry about that. I'm okay with this approach. Spot threat, back up. We should be looking for some health, or we should just be recalling this. We should not be re-engaging on 93 hit points. That's way too low. Good. We should be picking up the health a little bit faster, or just recall it and then just be very careful. They lose a player, and I want to point this out. They lose a player. He's not gone forever, but they are now 5 versus 6. This is very, very relevant. We could afford to have a little bit less panic here. Kind of a fun fact. In this matchup, if you get the crosshair in the right position, which is pretty much on his chin, the time to kill between both heroes is not necessarily that far off unless he lands a really good rocket. And honestly, if our tracking is spot on and we just put that there, hold left click, get even half a clip into him, and then recall, we will be in super strong position. The fact that he runs away is just a huge boon to us. Worth mentioning, we should have just picked up, you know, just bounce back, take 2 steps back, pick up the health pack behind us, and then advance forward. With Tracer, you want to be on max hit points as much as possible, just because 150 is so low. We are literally 1 Helix rockets and a sneeze away from death, so we want to be super careful. But this, watching this was now a little bit painful. That is a D.Va with armor and a Mercy. We are doing next to no damage if we are shooting into the back of it. And from this distance, I just want you guys to watch how little damage Tracer is doing in terms of being at long range, shooting mid-range with the pulse pistols. D.Va took about 30 damage, maybe. Mercy took about 5. D.Va, again, took about 30 damage, and even being frozen, took barely any damage. We are doing absolutely tiny amounts here. We do get an opportunity here. The Mercy is down to about 50 hit points. This is where we should be looking to get something happening. Instead, we're still engaging her at mid-range, and Mercy's stronger than us at mid-range. We can't fight her at the mid-range. At some point with Tracer, you have to go for a commit. You have to go in and go for the kill. And honestly, this playstyle is more Genji, and this is more invocative of Genji's playstyle, where you are poking out from a mid-range distance, just throwing shurikens out, seeing if anything lands, then you are committing. But what we end up doing here is we just sort of stand around, we take an absolute boatload of damage, which we could probably do with either recalling or just immediately move to a health pack, because now we're on 64 hit points. We cannot fight anything. Like, we have to run away from this. So we either recall and then we just keep poking a little while recall comes off cooldown, or we instantly go for that health pack. We can't afford to do anything extra. Again, we're getting a little bit of damage into Lucia, but nothing really special. And honestly, at this point, all of their team is focused on the Reinhardt. And there is a threat of a Soldier 76 coming in here. Us dropping down, suddenly we have threats coming from every freaking angle on them, and we can just go onto the Mercy, kill the Mercy, no problem. We have no better opportunity right now than just going in and killing the Mercy. We need to make that commitment though, because just doing what we're doing now, this is not particularly effective. We could be hunting this Mercy down. This Mercy should be dead. This Mercy should have been dead a while ago, and now she's ended up in a situation where our team's come back to protect her. And now she's still alive. Now they're getting ults out, and now we're using ultimates. This Mercy should have been dead 10 seconds ago, even longer ago. Stick, unfortunately, doesn't land. Happens. Fair enough. Whatever. Not the real problem here. We absolutely have to run away from that, and we should be gone. Yep. We can't do this anymore. Team's still arguing. Of course, it's still arguing. Got to pick up the health pack, but we're still probably feeling a little bit nervous, to be honest, on 122. Just poke in. Poke back out. Recall, recall, recall. Wait for it. Wait for it! Ah, man, come on. A Fire Strike does 100 damage. If a Fire Strike hits you and you have recall up, recall it. Because you are on 50 hit points. 50 hit points is not enough to survive anything. You will never last on that volume of hit points. If you take a Reinhardt hammer swing, you could justify maybe trying to just blink away from it and dodge it that way, pick up a small health pack and then go back and do things. But with a Fire Strike, that is no more messing. You are already sub 150 health. You've taken 100 extra damage. Now we are recalling. It also makes it harder for the Reinhardt to position on top of us. It makes it harder for Reinhardt to get follow-up damage. It's all good stuff. But honestly, like, I cannot highlight enough how much of a missed opportunity it was back here, where they end up with ice, and especially here. Like, to me, this is go. This, especially now that they've dropped an Earth Shadow over here, this Mercy is on so little hit points, she's backing herself literally into a corner. Why aren't we engaging on this? Their tanks are literally running away from her. She's unsupported, completely vulnerable on about 50 hit points. The fact that this was not seen as a kill priority is huge to me, and I just really want to draw attention to this and emphasize this, that when you are playing a flanking support like Tracer and Genji, you have to make the call to go in and get things done at some point, especially playing Tracer. You cannot play from the mid-range. You do not get kills from the mid-range frequently. Let me be, you know, I'm sure someone's just waiting, well, technically I got a kill on a target that was on 2 hit points from 3 miles away. Don't give a shit. Majority of your kills have to be at relatively close distances. We are perfectly fine dropping down, and then we have 3 seconds to kill this Mercy. If we don't do that, if they start turning around peeing on us, we have recall. We can just get back to high ground, perfectly safe, or, well, relatively near full health. We can now choose from any angle that we so desire, where we can drop down this way, we can drop down this way, we can drop down from over this way, and we can even come in from the pathway here. Like, we have so many options available that we can afford to start being aggressive and playing aggressively. We are not doing this. It's a problem. It's a big, big problem. It means, like, this is fine if we're Soldier 76, then sure, we want to stay on the high ground, we want to shoot down to low ground, all that good stuff. If we're playing Tracer, we need to be going down, getting stuck in, because if we wait too long, if we waste time, situations pretty much like we ended up in end up happening, where then the enemy team has time to refocus, recluster. We never get sufficient damage out. We never get the DPS that Tracer can do out there. And as such, there's no chance. There's no chance, like, at this distance, there is no way you are going to kill the Lucio getting healed by a Mercy with a Soldier 76 there as well. Like, this drop down should have come even earlier. Maybe you could have got onto her before the Zenyatta orb goes elsewhere, for example. We could do a whole bunch of different things. I see people talking about the hotkey arrangement. The hotkey arrangement, whatever works for you. I assume he's using right clicks for blink. On OAM, I have right click for pulse bomb. I'm still getting used to it. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Like, honestly, this behavior, this here, was a little bit better. I'd say that our target priority was a bit skewy. Again, like shooting the Reinhardt and D.Va, armor, mid-range Tracer. Never going to do anything. Like, you notice he barely even feels it. Doesn't even notice. We've got a nice, isolated, juicy, thick Mercy just to kill that. We should be getting on that. Especially after then you see a Discord orb on the Soldier 76. We can absolutely get on that. Fight that, get some damage on that. Fire strike lands, recall out. No problem. You have a huge safety net. We need to be abusing it. When you have that safety net of the recall, use it. And I think someone pointed out in chat that you haven't recalled once all game to this point. And we are several minutes in. That's a concern. It means that we aren't using... We're basically, you know, it's like playing Soldier 76 and not using a Helix rocket. Like, you have this tool, we should be using it. It's actually a really good opportunity for us to get in there. Again, let's get on this Mercy. Okay, we found the Mercy. Keep distance from the Reinhardt. Why are we shooting this Reinhardt? Reinhardt, 2 healers on him. Full armor, thick 200 armor on him. Armor exists to ruin you. Armor exists as Tracer to absolutely put a stop to anything you're doing. When we are engaging Reinhardts, we are trying to make them uncomfortable, we're trying to build pulse bombs, and we're trying to do things elsewhere. This ultimate was fucking glorious by your Reinhardt, and we completely miss an opportunity. Sure, they've just activated sights. But Soldier 76 is facing the opposite direction, going for the Reinhardt. Blink forward, press Q. Blink back. Run. If Soldier turns around, recall, blink away, get out. Even if Soldier kills us as we go in here, chances are pretty good that we get 1, 2 targets. We probably won't get this target here, because I think that's the D.Va, even. So you'll at best get out of mech, but it's so much damage onto this. And I think there's someone stunned over there as well. But the fact that this didn't scream pulse bomb this now is, again, a huge problem. This is a massive wasted opportunity that we could have instantly swung this, where suddenly it's just a Soldier 76 left and maybe the Mercy. Maybe the Mercy reses, but the value out of that bomb is enormous. We get extremely lucky in that we get the D.Va and the Mercy. I think D.Va just like throws a bomb and then stands next to Mercy. This is literally a case of they just blunder into it. Okay, happens sometimes. We got lucky. Let's capitalize on the back of it. A little bit tricky. Honestly, right now we should be focused on keeping people busy and not putting ourselves in a corner. The second you moved over here was a huge problem. We just want to be playing around on the point and probably drilling the Lucio for as much damage as humanly possible while the rest of our team joins us. Level 76 is a bit of a trickier proposition. I know Lucio is quite small, but learning how to hit Lucios is going to be invaluable and absolutely should be learned. So we should have been more out in the open and just, like, if we just use this point, we should have been fighting around this area and just engaging on that Lucio. We don't want to go too far out in the open. We don't want to go too far back, like all the way out into these areas. But we definitely want to avoid closed spaces like over here, for example. We should be fighting around this area. And then we can always just blink around, make sure that we're contesting the point, and then just wait for all these guys to suddenly show up and come in and get the kills. Our job as Tracer isn't necessarily to like get a huge amount of kills. Sometimes it is just to tie people up. Sometimes it is just to keep people busy and be an annoyance. They completely whiff on Earth Shadow. They use a res for no reason. I've explained it before, but let me explain again why this res is absolutely god-awful. So they've just picked 2 people up. They've used Earth Shadow already in this fight. They've resurrected 2 people. If they fight now, let's say they take this fight super hard. Let's say that they come in here and kill all 6 of your team. All 6 of them. Your team now respawns in 10 seconds, is back in the fight within about 2 seconds, and then just retakes the fight with everyone fresh, ready to go. You use a couple of ultimates because you probably have ultimate advantage because you, I don't know, maybe didn't use all your ultimates in that fight. You can come back, swing it back super easily, whatever, no problem. Payload hasn't changed its position objective-wise. We haven't moved anywhere. Nothing has changed differently in the scope of the map as a whole. It's just they basically bought themselves 10 seconds. If they bide their time, wait a bit longer, wait for a proper fight to start, around the corner perhaps, then they use that resurrect, and then they buy more time. It takes you a good 5-10 seconds perhaps for people to start getting back into the fight. They bought more time, got more value off the back of those reses. Best rule of thumb I can give you all is very simply, the further away from the enemy spawn you use ultimates, the better. It gives you more time, because what is a death in Overwatch? It's time. That's literally what you're buying. To almost quote Tracer, paraphrase Tracer, I guess, because time is on her side. But that's what you're doing. You're removing them from a certain period of time. You want that time to be as long as possible, and it's why staggering is so important. It's why trickling in is so bad, is because that increases the amount of time it takes for people to regroup and for people to do things. The final arbiter of Overwatch isn't, you know, frags, it isn't kills and eliminations, it isn't healing done, it isn't damage done. It is these numbers up here. It is time. That is what you're fighting against. And so if you're using resurrects near their spawn, you are not being time efficient, and therefore you are not using ultimates as perhaps strongly as they could be. We should probably be looking to get on the Lucio. I mean, I'm fine. Like, by the way, this is actually, like, this was quite nice to see. Like, I'd say we could probably be okay just going hard on this at this point. Maybe. We still have our safety net, so we're not too worried about getting bursted down. Worst case, we get in, blink up to this wall, just drill Reinhardt. Reinhardt then has to make the devil's choice. Or Sophie's choice, basically. You can either keep his barrier up and take a shitload of damage from the Tracer, or he can drop his barrier, take a swing at us, and then potentially get killed by everyone else. You are basically daring this Reinhardt, take a swing at me. Take a swing at me. Go on, take a swing at me. The second you see he does it, you press E, you recall out, you're perfectly fine. They've dropped the barrier, the Diva dies, the Lucio potentially dies, their team gets staggered, your team pushes the payload all the way through the map. Feels good, man. That opportunity gone, I'm fine with us coming around here. Honestly, we could go on this Reinhardt. Maybe. So, fun fact, C's got very limited hit points here. I'm literally going to load Overwatch up. I'm going to load up Overwatch, so. Because I want to demonstrate something that's very important about playing Tracer. Very important about playing Tracer, so bear with me a second. Because when you see someone on that little hit points, like this should be a signal, especially when it's a target as big as Reinhardt, and sure, Lucio is there to provide some healing, but even then, he's very low on barrier. We have a lot of space here to actually get a lot of work done. So this is very, very important to understand. Training! Practice range. Okay. I am going to pick Tracer. Tracer. Takes 1 second to unload a clip, 1 second to reload. People call that the rhythm of Tracer, by the way. 1 second firing, 1 second reload. 1 second firing, 1 second reload. The important concept is this. 1 clip does 200 damage. No headshots, no must, no fuss. 200 damage straight into the body. Any headshots, bonus. Gravy. I'm actually not 100% sure if it's 200 exactly, but I do know you can get 200 damage very easily out of Tracer clips on targets that are especially large, that you can get headshots onto very easily. Because if we do get headshots, we don't even have to use the full clip. I actually want to see... okay, that used all... well, that used half a clip. But I even just fire 1 shot on Tracer. Oh, it uses 2. Oh, that makes sense. She fires both pistols once. Okay, there you go. 18 shots. 18 shots is all we need to kill a 200 hit point target, technically. That means we can do it on the body in 36. So we don't even need a full clip, we have 4 shots left over. Which deals a nice around 25 damage. Or, is that 20 or 25? It's 25, isn't it? What this means is that if you see a target on super low hit points, like that Reinhardt, for example, if you blink into their back, empty your clip, and then do that, chances are they're going to die. Chances are very, very good they're going to die. And so we have a big opportunity there where you could go in, just drill that Reinhardt. You don't even have to get that close to him because he's a Reinhardt. You can stand a little bit far back. And then if you're worried about him engaging, blink away, keep firing. Can he turn around to shoot? Can he turn around to deal with you? No, because the rest of his team is in front of him. He can't turn around to deal with you. Therefore, you have another chance to get back in. Maybe do that. If they start retaliating, if you get shot by something, recall. No problem. We have these options. We have this 3-second time limit to play around with, to do things with, to get stuff actually done that we just aren't using. And killing the enemy Reinhardt is a huge win for your team because now you can push forward. They have no barrier protecting them anymore. Then all your damage starts coming through, starts landing on their team. It gets very easy for you to go in, dance around the team, get a couple of eliminations. And I've said before in coaching the many with Tracer that you want to be extremely careful about blinking into the enemy team. Reinhardt is an odd one. Like, again, I always advise against blinking right into the enemy team, but just try and find an angle or a position where you can get close enough to land the damage, and then just blink around, blink out, all that stuff. Even if Lucio starts healing him, we can probably DPS through it, and we probably have enough time. But at the very least, make that Reinhardt suffer a huge amount. Okay. Be back to the screen, so you can see. And like, the only things, there's nothing here that really threatens us either, except the Reinhardt himself, who cannot drop his barrier at this point. So the fact that we're playing so timid is just like a concern to me. He does end up dropping his barrier anyway. It's a scatter arrow. But honestly, that scatter arrow could have hit someone else instead. And you guys could be pushing that much faster. And the fact that we're not taking these opportunities is telling me that we aren't playing Tracer right. We need to be more aggro with doing that kind of stuff. We're a little bit lucky here that the team sort of helps us. Worth mentioning that if you just blink forward, full clip a Tourbillon turret, you won't be able to kill all of it. But if you literally just stand in front, like if you blink forward, stand in front of the Tourbillon turret, empty clip, reload, empty clip, you will kill the turret before it kills you barely. Any other damage though, and you will be suffering. So you want to be very careful when doing that. But just whittling it down, I'm okay with. Hunt down, kill the Tourbillon. Fun fact about Tourbillon: while the turret is being built, if you kill the Tourbillon, the turret explodes. We managed to kill both, but it's just worth mentioning. So never be afraid, like if Tourbillon's just trying to slam his turret down, never be afraid to just engage the Tourbillon and try and kill him as soon as possible. Because he's all head, like I said, you only need half a clip. It's not that difficult to kill him. If he has armor, then it's a completely different case. It is also worth mentioning that Hanzo has now rejoined the game. This is a bold blink. Again, it's a little bit unnecessary. Why is this blink unnecessary? Because we have literally just taken the point. We don't need to use resource anymore. The payload isn't moving anywhere. We're not especially gaining any ground. We're not particularly looking to push forward hard at this point. So landing the bomb on a Reinhardt especially isn't that valuable. Because you need a bit of follow-up just to kill the Reinhardt. You need to do something a little bit extra to make it work. And yeah. Apparently it's 240 damage per clip. There you go. 6 damage per shot? Okay, there you are. I'm okay with us just biding our time here, but like this position here, especially after the sound barrier's gone down, like wouldn't it be nice to have a pulse bomb now? Wouldn't that be way nicer when we can use it with the rest of our teams pushing? Mercy throws herself off a cliff apparently, or just gets knocked off. I don't know. Dragon comes through, gets infinite value. We think might have used a Transcendence there as well. I'm not sure. Just cleaning up, no problem. Easy push, easy life, easy win, easy time. But again, be very careful about using these ultimates. And I think, we recalled, I think, for the first time all game. Like, the fact that we are not using our abilities is concerning and very much worth highlighting and pointing out and saying, hey, start using your abilities. Okay, we're going to attack